talk about a new book called Vent-elation by one Mr. John Kimmons, who one or two of you may have heard of. And this is a book about ventriloquism. If you've been trying to learn ventriloquism in the past, you would have probably received something like this: Secrets of Ventriloquism. And there is a lot in here about what sort of puppet to get hold of, throwing your voice, which is impossible. And after about 2 pages on how to actually make sounds, you are immediately plunged into the world of stage, television and radio. So presumably 2 pages of instruction are enough. Now there is a very helpful section which says as follows: smoking and drinking water while the dummy talks are tricks worth practicing, and must only be introduced into your performance at such time as you have mastered the effects completely. It doesn't actually tell you how to master the effects, it just tells you that you've got to master them. Holding a cigar or cigarette lightly between the lips and balancing the tip under the top centre teeth as in the accompanying illustration, and while you're doing that you must practice having the dummy talk while the cigar or cigarette is held in this position in your mouth without the least sign of wobble. So that is the sort of instruction you would have received.
Well, thank you very much, Jerry, for inviting me here. So, teacher tata teacher take a tickle tata, where's the take a tickle tata teacher tata tit? It's moving, it's moving. You got a light. This is really hard. Well, that was actually much harder to do with that in. There we are. But I do think it suits me. I think I might take it up.
Very PC.
Yeah. Good in a kids show.
Well, this is the book that we're talking about, John's magnum opus on Vent-elation. And
it's near the Transformer. Magnum opus. This is this started off as a set of lecture notes, really, and then it grew and grew into an 86-page book. I basically tried to write the book that I wanted when I started out, what I could have done with reading when I started out, because I'd got a book that talked about lip control, and it didn't mention cigarettes or cigars, but it was talking about putting lollipop sticks between your lips, and it was talking about substituting G's for B's and things like that, which I didn't find very helpful, and I don't think anybody does now, and it's widely regarded. You don't substitute G's for B's. So
this is the old bottle of gear.
The old bottle of gear thing, and you know,
right.
nine other is very very fat and all that. And
so, assuming I'm a complete beginner, which I am, I've never done an event at all. Would this book be suitable for me?
Yes.
Is it going to take me
It starts right at the beginning. What I did was, people who were I asked people who were interested in Vent and learning Vent, and even experienced Vents, to fill in a survey that I did, and I actually had a massive response to this. I had hundreds of people fill in. I broke the server and had to pay extra money to allow people to post more surveys in, and the biggest concern seemed to be lip control. Now this is the one all the books and a lot of the experienced vents say don't worry about, but I wanted to tackle it in depth, and I wanted to explain certainly my method, and I think the best way of making the correct sounds, the B's and the P's, without substituting for D's and T's, because I think that leads people down blind alleys. There's a lot of people saying do a D or do a T, and it isn't really that, and it was trying to find a way of describing that, and I think we've achieved it.
And I imagine also that one of the difficulties that people would have when they first start is breathing. I mean, by which I mean breathing so that you are producing...
It's about where the voice comes from.
Yes.
So you're producing a voice from your diaphragm, and we've got ways we've got a couple of exercises in there and a couple of ways to help you produce your voice from the right place, because volume is all about where your voice is coming from. Like an opera singer will be able to produce a massive amount of volume just because they're projected from the diaphragm.
Right, okay.
If you're pushing from your throat, you're not going to get the right quality of voice.
I'm actually being slightly disingenuous here because it sounds as if I don't know what's in this book. In fact, I've read it cover to cover. And one of the, as far as I'm concerned, one of the most helpful aspects are the scripts in the second half of the book.
You see, that was another thing that I always thought was you very often got guides that say, you know, keep a notebook and find jokes on the internet or find jokes in old joke books, and they don't explain how to turn these into routines and gags. So I included some sample scripts. There's 6 sample scripts in here, so you can see the kind of thing that I write. One of them is actually a very simple script which was first published in my original set of lecture notes many years ago. I've revised it slightly, made it even easier actually, and I've taken out all the difficult letters. So basically it's a script that reads like a proper script, but it cuts out the
no B's and
there's no B's, P's. Now that's not, obviously you want to progress to a point where you don't have to worry about
no, but it's a good starting
letters.
point.
But if anybody's worried about B's and P's, then I've got an entire script that shows you how you can script round that problem, because
And it's a very good script as well.
there's a certain amount of that. But what seems to have helped a lot of people, and I've got a lot of feedback on this, is the section on how to write a script, because getting the ideas down on paper is something that people have a lot of problem with.
You also use a term, I don't think it's called referencing, but you set up a situation at the beginning of the script that you refer to right near the end, the sort of
Callbacks, yeah.
Callbacks,
You have callbacks to a line, and it's there's things like the rule of 3, which you can write. I mean, we all in magic we know about the rule of 3, and it works in comedy as well. I mean, obviously anything that comes in threes is funnier, and we talk about how to write things according to the rule of 3. Even a list, as long as the last item is slightly incongruous with the other 2 items on the list, even reeling off a list will work as something in the script if you're applying the rule of 3 to it.
When I say I've read this book, I can promise you that I did actually read it very thoroughly indeed, because I proofed it, which means that you've got to go through every single word. I can honestly say that for anybody starting, or for anybody who wants to take their ventriloquism to the next stage, or for anybody who has difficulty writing scripts, this is an outstanding book. And I don't say that lightly, it really is an outstanding book.
Well, I'll try to take you through the entire script writing process, because that's a major thing for a lot of people, being able to sit down and being faced with a blank page and coming up with your own routine. And a lot of people don't think they can do it. And I have got quite a few testimonials from people who've tried out the process and said they've written their first script, and they've even been out and performed the first script after reading the book. I'm really pleased about that. That's been that's pleased me the most. We've also got a lot on manipulation, because a lot of ventriloquism is puppet manipulation, and so we talk about how to move the mouth with each syllable, and how to manipulate the mouth correctly so it looks realistic. And then there's other aspects like the arm control and acting. Acting is also very important. We've got an entire section in acting on acting in the book as well.
So I mean, I really do think that this is an extremely comprehensive treatise on the subject. So if you have any interest whatsoever in ventriloquism, there we are, John Kimmons's Vent-elation.
So get those puppets out of the cupboard. All those ones that are languishing at the bottom of your cupboard, get them out and find something for them to do, put them to work for you. And don't get trapped in the circle of vent.